I said to you for 30 years walking on eggshells every single day. What gives you the right to boss me around all day?
By what right? By what right? Because I'm the head of this household.
What makes you the head of this household? What right? And why am I nothing more than an unpaid maid?
This is a must-watch film for every married woman. Most viewers are left with just one word: suffocating. What exactly was it that drove a wife to point a knife at the man who made her suffer for half her life, only to end up stabbing herself in the chest instead?
Tell me. Why?
This story is adapted from the real-life journey of Sumin, the 50-year-old road-tripping auntie. It won a Golden Rooster Award immediately upon its release, earning a stellar 8.8 rating from over 400 viewers. The very creation of this film was an act of determination. Screenwriter Am I Known for So Long, My Son, and Under the Hawthorn Tree now focuses on the countless women trapped in the silence of traditional Chinese marriages. This film isn't about chasing poetry in distant lands, but about stripping away the veneer to reveal the raw reality of everyday family life. If you find yourself struggling and lost within the besieged city of marriage, this film might just help you find your way out. The story begins with 18-year-old Li Hong. Back then, she was a top student, a high schooler full of hope for the future. Her greatest dream was to go to college, leave the mountains, and see the world beyond. But at the height of her college entrance exam prep, as she hurried home with joy, fate dealt her a cruel, resounding blow. Her mother told her don't bother with the exam. He wanted her to follow him back to their hometown in Henan to start working in a factory. The news came like a bolt from the blue, leaving Li Hong in a state of sheer panic. She clung to her father and implored him to let her at least finish her college entrance exams first. Her father's eyes held no warmth, only cold and indifferent calculation.
Don't you think you should look out for the family a little? Why are you being so inconsiderate?
He told Li Hong that as the eldest daughter, the responsibility fell squarely on her shoulders. The family needed money to build a house back home, and her two younger brothers had to stay in school. She was the family's only hope for income. She had to go to work to help shoulder the family's burden. Li Hong felt the sting of her father's sexism. She refused to just give in. Grabbing her school bag, she insisted on going to school, but her father yanked her back and with one cold sentence, utterly shattered all her hopes.
What are you making such a fuss about? I've already processed your school withdrawal for you.
This scene is more than just a family tragedy. It encapsulates the eldest sister's dilemma of an entire generation. In that era, the eldest sister as a mother figure often morphed into eldest sister as a beast of burden, where she was expected to sacrifice everything for her brothers as a matter of course. Her own future, when weighed against the family's interests, especially that of the sons, simply did not matter at all. Film unflinchingly portrays this systemic injustice to its fullest. There are no hysterical accusations, yet it leaves every viewer with a silent, sharp sting. To escape this suffocating family of origin, marriage became her only lifeline. Introduced by a friend, she met Sun Dayong, who worked at the Municipal Water Conservancy Bureau.
I work in Zhengzhou, which is far from here. You don't mind, do you?
The harder the better. I just want to leave home. Far away.
Li Hong knew nothing about love. All she cared about was that Sun Dayong worked out of town far enough from her home. She naively thought that as long as she got married and moved out, she could escape her parents' control and have a little world of her own. Even during their courtship, she had already noticed how stingy Sun Dayong was. On his first visit, he brought only 4 pastries for Li Hong's family of 5. She also knew he lacked romance on a snowy day. He only urged her to go home early because he was cold. But all of this seemed trivial compared to her desperate longing for freedom. Her father's opposition only served as a catalyst, making Li Hong even more eager to escape. One snowy night behind her family's back, she decided to register her marriage with Sun Dayong. A classic escape marriage. She thought she was running toward freedom. Little did she know she was merely jumping from one cage into an even deeper abyss. The film handles this brilliantly. Those 4 pastries act as a tiny, yet incredibly precise warning sign, foreshadowing the material and emotional deprivation of her future marriage. From an omniscient perspective, the audience is filled with anxiety for her future, while Li Hong on screen is racing toward that illusory freedom. A few years into the marriage, they had a daughter, Xiaxiu. With a wave of layoffs in the 1990s, Li Hong lost her job, and the balance of the household was completely shattered. Sun Dayong's selfishness and indifference began to be laid bare. Because Li Hong had no income, Sun Dayong kept a small notebook, tracking her daily expenses like an accountant and cross-examining every single penny spent.
Say, 5 yuan $1.30 for meat.
Did we even have meat? Why did it cost so much? After receiving her first month's pay for street sweeping, Lee Hong got a perm and bought flowers, only to be met with an even more absurd demand from her husband.
We need to plan our family's income and expenses from now on. I'll handle the housing and groceries, but for all other expenses, we'll split them 50-50.
Next second, he demanded that she pay her share for the new pressure cooker, asking Lee Hong for 19 yuan. This time, for the first time, Lee Hong stood her ground. She pulled out the money and slammed it onto the table. No, sweeping streets may not be a respectable job for Lee Hong. That broom was the scepter with which she reclaimed control over her life in that moment. Though she was covered in dust, her soul was radiant. The going Dutch arrangement is the most ironic part of the film. It is also in the real story one of the most heartbreaking details experienced firsthand by An Su-ming. This is not the financial independence found in modern marriages. It is a naked assertion of power and a severance of emotional ties. In this way, Sun Dae-yong made it clear to Lee Hong he would provide only the bare material essentials for survival. But as for emotional support and daily consideration, she shouldn't expect a single ounce of it. This reduced their marriage to nothing more than a relationship between strangers, hardly even roommates at all. This strikes a chord with the pain points of many contemporary marriages. Precise in financial calculation, yet emotionally bankrupt and messy, leaving both sides wounded in the end. However, the emotional indifference is the most fatal blow. On a rainy day, Sun Dae-yong holds the umbrella and walks ahead on his own, leaving Lee Hong burdened with heavy bags to get drenched behind him. Doesn't look back once, doing nothing but constantly rushing her. Just then, a young couple approaches from the opposite direction. The boy held the girl close, tilting most of the umbrella over her side. Lee Hong was stunned in that moment. She finally understood that some people only ever hold their umbrellas for themselves. In this house, she had never truly been cherished. They say marriage is a safe harbor, but all the storms in Lee Hong's life seemed to be brought by her husband Ai. At a family gathering, he forced Lee Hong to toast the relatives for the sake of his reputation. Lee Hong was coughing from the smoke and kindly brought over an ashtray, but Sun Dae-yong took it as her acting superior and looking down on his rural relatives. His face darkened instantly. Lee Hong worked from start to finish without getting a single bite of hot food. After the relatives left fueled by the alcohol, Sun Dae-yong began to insult her, accusing her of wasting money on too many leftovers and accusing her of putting on airs like a city dweller.
I'll be on you, all hand and foot, now. And the one in the wrong.
Just because you bring an ashtray, what's so great about being city folk?
When did I ever say I was city folk?
I say one thing, and you talk back. Talk back every single time as a woman. Can't you just listen for once? Why do you have to be so stubborn with me?
Why should I listen to you? Why should I have to obey you?
Finally, in a fit of rage, he flipped the table over. This scene of flipping the table is a very typical behavioral pattern for certain men. In reality, actor Jiang Wu admitted that, while playing this role, he felt immense pressure. It represents an extremely selfish psychological compensation mechanism. The more insignificant he feels in the outside world, the more authority he needs at home to fill his inner void. Lee Hong's resistance, even a simple retort, wounded his fragile ego. Flipping the table is the most primitive move he resorts to after losing the verbal argument, a pathetic display of violence. This time, Lee Hong was completely heartbroken and disillusioned. She took her daughter back to her parents' house and filed for divorce. She once thought her family home would be her final sanctuary, but reality dealt her a crushing blow. Instead of supporting her, her parents urged her to endure it for the sake of the child. They told her bluntly her brother was getting married, and there was no room for her to stay, trapped in a miserable marriage with no refuge at home. Looking at her young daughter, Lee Hong could only wipe away her tears and return once more to that suffocating household. Time flew by her daughter. Shaoxi grew up, got married, and was soon to become a mother herself. Lee Hong thought she had finally made it through the worst of it, only to find herself sinking into an even deeper cycle of exploitation.
I need to go out for 2 days at the end of this month.
She tentatively mentioned that she wanted to go to Chengdu for a high school reunion. It was her way of honoring her long-lost youth. Her daughter and son-in-law were supportive, even buying her a new dress and booking her ticket. But on the eve of her departure, complications arose with Xiaoxi's pregnancy. The doctor advised early hospitalization. The scheduled C-section fell exactly on the day of the reunion. Before she could leave, her daughter's helpless plea made her heart soften once again.
Mom's not going anywhere.
She smiled to comfort her daughter, but the moment she turned away, her expression froze. She silently tucked the red dress intended for the party deep into the back of the closet. After her grandson was born, Lee Hong quit her supermarket job to become a full-time nanny. She not only had to care for the newborn, but also had to wait on her perpetually fault-finding husband.
Why is it tomato and eggs again?
Can't you make some diced eggplant or shredded pork with pepper noodles? Come and sit here.
Sun Dae-yong accused her of being lazy for using disposable diapers and forced her to use traditional cloth ones. Yet he never once lifted a finger to help wash them. She was so exhausted she could barely stand straight, spinning like a top all day long, while Sun Dae-yong played table tennis at his leisure, eating watermelon and even making Lee Hong bend down to pick up every single ball that dropped. He wouldn't allow a single one to be missing. Then her body began to fail her. She frequently suffered from dizziness and tinnitus, and the world before her eyes suddenly lost its color, fading into black and white. The final straw that broke the camel's back was a new cell phone. The son-in-law had given her a phone, but Sun Dae-yong wanted to claim it as his own.
Dad.
Keep talking, all right. Your mom and I are leaving.
After being stopped, he went home and started sniping at Lee Hong with passive-aggressive sarcasm.
What are you after? You know exactly what.
What am I after?
You know perfectly well.
This baseless accusation twisted Lee Hong's selfless maternal devotion into a cold, calculated pursuit of profit and utterly shattered her final psychological defenses. A lifetime of grievances, rage, and resentment erupted in a single instant. She grabbed the fruit knife from the table and pointed it at Sun Dae-yong. Under Sun Dae-yong's terrified gaze, she turned the blade toward herself and stabbed downward with all her might.
Exactly what? Say. Hey.
This stabbing is the most shocking and heartbreaking moment of the film. Why did she stab herself? Because years of suppression and self-denial had forced her to internalize all of her rage. When someone is constantly suppressed and belittled, she gradually begins to believe that she is the problem. So even in her most desperate moments of rebellion, she turns the aggression toward herself, a harrowing act of self-destruction. And a devastating indictment of this relationship shows us that the scars of mental abuse are far more insidious than physical violence, and often more fatal. At the hospital, Lee Hong is diagnosed with moderate depression. It is during this time that she chances upon a road trip convoy.
We just drive around for fun. We've been on the road for 3 months.
Realizing she could travel on her own, a glimmer of light suddenly pierces through her bleak and desolate world. The idea of a solo road trip becomes her sole reason for living. She starts taking driving lessons, determined to save up for a car to afford the down payment she asks her brother for years of unpaid wages, only to be guilt-tripped by her mother in the name of family loyalty.
How can you be so heartless? You are his own sister.
Well, then am I not your own daughter? I should have gone to college, but you stopped me for the sake of your son. You refused to let me take the exam. I was laid off in my 20s. I've worked odd jobs half my life. Why in my 50s should I still be working for my brother for free?
She finally fights back this confrontation with her mother. It is Lee Hong's first true act of spiritual rebellion. No longer enduring in silence, she voices the decades of injustice that have been bottled up inside her.
When my mother gave my brother white steamed buns, I ate coarse cornbread. And I never uttered a word of complaint.
The mother cites her own lifelong submissiveness as if to offer counsel, but it is actually a tragic example of intergenerational trauma. Once a victim herself, she unwittingly became an accomplice in her daughter's sacrifice. Lee Hong's resistance is more than just a search for personal justice. It's an attempt to shatter the shackles of fate that have bound countless women. With the car bought and her driver's license in hand, she was ready to set off only for her daughter Xiaoxi to become a new obstacle. Xiaoxi was fired after her performance suffered due to frequent leaves for childcare. Once again, Sun Dae-yong shifted all the blame onto Lee Hong.
Shaksu is constantly taking leave while you're busy getting your license. You've cost our daughter her job.
Her daughter's sake, Lee Hong's escape plan was stalled once again. She thought it was only temporary, unaware of the deeper disappointment awaiting her. As a full-time housewife, Xiaoxu gradually lost touch with the outside world. Terrified of repeating her mother's fate, she desperately sought a way back to work. Finally, when the child started kindergarten, Xiaoxu landed a new job. Lee Hong excitedly packed her bags and practiced setting up her tent, believing she could finally leave, but her daughter begged her to stay yet again.
You know, any resumes I sent out just to get this one call. Times have changed, Mom. The company competition is too fierce. If I don't get out now, I'll end up as a street sweeper.
Xiaoxu used her own future to hold her mother hostage once more. Looking into her daughter's tearful eyes, Li Hong relented again. Silently, she packed away her tent and bags. She thought she had finally severed the ties, only to find those ties were the very veins of her own flesh and blood. A daughter's hindrance is more soul-crushing than a husband's oppression. It's not that Xiaoxu doesn't love her mother, but she is unwittingly replicating the family's cycle of exploitation. This is one of the film's most profound critiques. Within this family structure, a victim can also become a perpetrator. Xiaoxu fears turning into her mother, yet she pushes her mother back into that predicament with her own hands, all to secure her own way out. This contradiction and struggle make the character incredibly authentic, deepening the audience's sympathy for Li Hong's plight. The final straw that broke her occurred on a day of celebration. The son-in-law was promoted, the daughter secured a permanent job, and Sun Daeyong won a table tennis medal. The whole family sits together clinking glasses and celebrating their respective successes. Only Li Hong is left spinning in the kitchen, lost in the heat and grease. She endures it in silence, continuing with the endless chores. As she bends down to pick up a fallen ping-pong ball, her chronic back injury flares up and the sharp pain leaves her paralyzed. She instinctively calls out to her daughter 3 times, but no one hears her. All she hears is her husband's laughter, the praise from her daughter and son-in-law, and the clink of celebratory glasses. In that moment, an island submerged in their celebration, she finally sees everything clearly.
All this nihilist, I'm done with it. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Hearing this, Sun Daeyong thinks she's just throwing a fit and tells her to knock it off. This time, Li Hong completely snaps.
I served you for 30 years walking on eggshells for you. So what right do you have to boss me around all day? What right?
Because I am the head of this household.
And why exactly are you the head of the household? On what grounds? Why must I be the free nanny?
I'm telling you right now.
Dad, you call the shots.
If you think this home isn't good enough, feel free to go wherever you want. Leave now. Go wherever you want. Just go.
I should have left a long time ago.
Xiaoxu tries to stop her, fearing that without her mother, her own life will fall into chaos.
I can't wait anymore.
This time, Li Hong's heart did not waver. She left home with absolute resolve, never once looking back. Driving her little white car, she ventured into the night, and toward the break of dawn. Living on the road, she learned to change tires, endured wind and rain in her tent, and met kind-hearted fellow travelers. Months into her journey, Sun Daeyong called her for the first time.
You used my Instacart card. Total was 81 yuan, and it was charged like
Is this the only reason you're calling?
Yes.
This 81 yuan phone call is a stroke of narrative genius. With an almost absurd touch of dark humor, it brings this suffocating relationship to its final conclusion. It shows the audience that Sun Daeyong, from start to finish, only has room in his world for himself and his petty trivial calculations. He never truly cared about Li Hong's well-being or even her survival. The way Li Hong hurls the Etsy card off the cliff is deeply ritualistic. She threw away more than just a card. She discarded her past self, objectified, calculated, and utterly ignored. This is her most definitive farewell to the past. Encouraged by her fellow travelers, Li Hong began live-streaming her journey, gaining countless supporters and finally achieving financial independence. She finally fulfilled her wish of attending her class reunion. Donning that long-forgotten red dress, standing in the heart of nature, she finally met her 18-year-old self again. In that distant gaze, a single look bridged a reconciliation spanning over 30 years. Yes, it came late, but thankfully, at this very moment, she is finally on her way. The film has ended, but its impact and the reflection it provokes are far from over. Li Hong's life is a microcosm of the lives of countless ordinary women. A tap on the glass could summon a dish of vinegar, yet even stabbing herself twice couldn't win back her own life. A flick of a finger could scatter ash everywhere. But though she was half drenched in the rain, no umbrella ever came for her. And Sun Daeyong's question is the most soul-crushing line in the entire film.
What are you even after? You know it yourself.
In the first half of her life, she sought love, only to end up with a broken heart. In the second half, she sought to be herself, and finally found her vast horizons. She is no longer waiting on the shore, she has become her own ferryman. The point of the film isn't to encourage every woman to run away from home. It serves as a reminder that whether one is a wife, a mother, or a daughter, we must first be ourselves. It also poses a question to society. Do we give women's domestic contributions the respect and recognition they deserve? A healthy family is never about one side's selfless sacrifice for the other's taking, but a partnership of mutual respect and shared responsibility. It allows countless women who sacrifice silently for their families to see. That you're unseen labor and neglected emotions. Not trivial matters, but real forms of erosion and harm. Your worth should not be defined solely by your family role. Ultimately, what this film tells us is that inside each of us there might be a Lai Hong longing to break free, as well as a Sun Dae-yong who is constantly building a cage. True growth comes from recognizing them, understanding them, and then bravely making your own choice. True freedom is never just about fleeing a city or leaving a person. It is about breaking free from the shackles in your own mind. Break the shackles of duty and emotion. Rebuild a spiritual world of your own. Identify the Etsy card in your life that causes you such distress, and then, like Li Hong, cast it away, regardless of the cost.